Okay, here we are planting the last batch of our tomatoes, and the way I normally do it, I trench them and I use my shovel to start where my trench will be, so my tomatoes wind up about 3.5 feet apart, which may not be enough, but it seems to work for me. Excuse me, my knees are so bad that I have to do this kind of stuff pretty well sitting down, but what I do is I dig a trench and I take my tomatoes, and these are big beef, and I lay them in the trench with the head to the west, and then I cover my tomato almost completely. Now this tomato happens to be bending very nicely to the sun. Don't worry about that. If they're totally flat, the tomato will by itself adjust and grow to the sun. Then I'll measure again here. Excuse me, I probably should put a little water here first on this. And when you have a 4-pack, it's pretty important to keep watering your tomatoes on quite a regular basis. Then I just measure out along my string another shovel length, and again, if you want a greater or lesser distance, that's totally all right. I would think 3 feet should be about what you want. Again, some tomatoes will be much bigger than others, and you learn by experience, so if you make a mistake, it's no great sin.
Garden center line 2.
And I'll take this tomato and I'll lay it like this and cover everything here. And again, these tomatoes are cooperating quite nicely in that they're all aimed toward the sun. If they weren't, they would be in a week anyways, so that's all you have to do. Now I did forget to bring paper to put a collar around right where they come out of the ground. I'll get that later, sorry about that, but there that tomato was in. We'll start another hole, trench. May look a bit awkward, it is, but my knees are that bad. Okay, then I'll take this tomato here and lay it like this and cover it. Again, these tomatoes are all coming quite nicely to the sun. Now, because one might get cutworms, I take a piece of paper, just an old piece of newspaper about this big, and I wrap it around the stem, push it down below the surface and make sure it's above the surface, and that way cutworms don't cut this little tomato plant off, and it just saves you some grief. And here we'll put the last tomato of these 4 in. Again. None of this is rocket science. It's just using good common sense. Again, I just lay this tomato in, pull it By the way, I will fertilize these tomatoes probably next week. This ground has been pretty heavily manured, so it already has quite a bit of fertilizer on it, but I will next week or so get it. Here's my trusty little piece of newspaper, and I just put this around and tuck it in, and there we are. Tomato was planted. Put some water on it. And when you get a 4-pack, you're probably going to need to water it at least twice a day, unless it rains, well, for a week or so until the plants get their roots established again. But here we basically have 4 tomatoes planted.